Tottenham Hotspur have just rejected a £60 million plus add-ons, that's important, bid from Bayern. What's your immediate reaction to that, John?
It's not nearly enough, is it? And this is going to be the repeated theme across this transfer window is we're not going to sell him to a UK club, the only real clubs who can afford him. And everyone else in Europe hasn't got enough money to meet the valuation that we would consider selling him for, which will be silly money, right? Like 100 million plus. So these stories are just going to be all summer. So-and-so's bid 70 million. So-and-so's bid 80 million, 70 million, 70 million, 75 million, 80 million. Like, it's just not going to be enough. It's not enough for us to go, yeah, okay, fine, we'll cash in. He is worth more to us for one season than 70 million, in my opinion.
7 million euros, 60 million pounds.
It's just not enough, is it? No. And I know that people will say, well, he's got a year left on his deal and we get to control where he's going to go. I get all those arguments, but when there's players like Mount, who's also got a year left and they're talking about 50, 60 million for him, it just makes no sense. And I don't understand why people are sort of even thinking about, oh, maybe that's the right decision. Like, it just isn't.
The amount of people that have responded going, yeah, but you could lose him for free in 6 months. Do you think I'm not acutely aware of that? Do you think I haven't been tracking this story through its entirety since he tried to get out of the club 3 years ago? There's people on Twitter going, actually, I think I need to enlighten you about something you may not know. He's in his last year of the contract and he could sign for someone else in January. So you should take that 60 million. Do you think I don't know that? You imbeciles. Yeah, I mean, look, 60 million pounds is enough. You look at Real Madrid. And even them and Man United have gone, we're not going to pay you what you want. It's too much money. You know, United have, by all accounts, have pulled out. Real Madrid saying it's too much money, £100 million for a 30-year-old. It's just not something we're interested in. Bayern Munich have gone, oh God, I need something to do. Should we put in a £60 million bid in for Kane? Yeah, go on then. See what happens. It's idiotic. In fact,
there must be some kind of someone feeding Bayern something as to say, if you put this in, or Kane would entertain an offer. Well, they wouldn't have just, they would have seen Real Madrid get knocked back. They would have seen United get back. And they've gone in with a lower offer if what's rumoured that United and Madrid would want to pay.
Yeah.
So surely, I mean, like, my dad always used to say this one bit of parting knowledge he ever gave to me was, if you don't shoot, you don't score, right? You got to buy a ticket to win, right?
Yep.
So they're more entitled to, they're entitled to submit, but that's going to get nowhere near it. Nowhere. And what's the end game? If you're going like 70 million euro and 60 million pounds, we would want 80 million plus easily. So that they're going to have to increase that quite a lot going over. It's just
when you said at the beginning of that Ricky, that you said that they must have had some inclination that Kane would be up for joining them.
Yeah.
So they've been encouraged to make a bid fundamentally. So
yeah,
because if in some world we accept they think Kane is open to moving to Munich, right?
Yeah.
But he definitely moved to Real Madrid. He would definitely move to Real Madrid. So what's the difference? And why go in so low? The answer to why they're going so low is because they don't have £100 million to spend on him. So why are we even talking?
This is what I think is just like strange about the whole situation. If clubs like Bayern and Real Madrid are trying to find out whether Kane's interested, yeah, of course he's interested. They're two of the biggest clubs in the world. Of course he's interested. The valuation thing is a completely separate point, and this is the bit that I think people keep missing. We're currently trying and tracking James Maddison, and the price that Leicester quoted was 60 million. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and he's nowhere fucking near Harry Kane level. Nowhere fucking near.
We are going to talk about Maddison, level, but yeah, you're right.
But this is what I mean in comparison, right? Mount, Maddison, there's players around Europe who are in similar contractual situations. I think the bigger picture here, and maybe this is something that Levy should use as part of the negotiation with Kane, is the just disrespect. The disrespect of the valuation. I don't understand. So many clubs, City tried it the season before, United are trying it now, Bayern and Real Madrid. How the hell are these clubs offering 60 million for Harry Kane is beyond me. He is, in the world right now, he is the best striker. He's the best striker in the world. Yeah, okay, there's Mbappe, right? Which, again, those clubs are maybe interested in, so they'd rather spend the money. But if you're Real Madrid and you're going for Mbappe, why even bother bidding for Kane? And why are you bidding that level like you think that's ever going to happen? Honestly, I think it is so mental, the valuations being like bidded for
Yeah.
Kane. I find it insulting, and I think he should be insulted that they don't want him enough to actually make a proper bid for the best striker in the world. I just find it insane.
It's the same with Man City. He should be looking at that and going, "You've dropped the ball there, Man City. You could have bought me. You spent £100 million on Grealish. Don't get me wrong, he was worth every penny. He's incredible. But at that stage, Harry Kane's stock was so much more than Grealish, even with the 4 or 5 years that he has in front of him in terms of his age." Is there any part of you, Ricky, though, that thinks that we should look at this situation, let's just rip the plaster off, let's get rid of him, let's just rebuild, let's start again, because it has to happen eventually? Like if he isn't going to sign a new deal, what should Daniel Levy do? Like the logical thing is you accept a decent bid. You might not get what you want, but you might get an £80 million bid. At that point, you start talking.
If the offer was that low ball and it's plus add-ons, I want to know what the add-ons are.
Yeah, not like if we win the Champions League, you get another £5 million. That's not what we want.
Yeah, I want like mental add-ons. Do you remember? I think it was when when Gaza signed and United were after him, and then he kept I want a car, and his sister wanted a sunbed. Like, I want to see like add-ons like that for Kane, like 10, 15 cars, 15 Beamers we'll throw in there for you. Throw in just loads of mental shit that equates to eventually 100 mil. Let me see that first, and then I'll make a decision. But to your original question, rip the plaster off. Fuck no. You stay for that year, you play for that year, then you do what you want. There is no way I am not letting you leave, Harry. You fucking stay and you finish your fucking dinner. Otherwise, you get no dessert. You stay.
Little pig.
Like John was saying, that if you're gonna value a player, like last year, their contracts for me, world's best striker. Every top club wants him. That you can do a value to that player, but the value to us is far greater than your 80 million. He's going to be our captain. He's if he stays with us, he's going to break the Prem record. He is just so embedded in Tottenham, our fan base, our history, and his family are rooted in London, and it's a lot to kind of to uproot all of that. It's fucking obscene money. Just there isn't a world where I would contemplate anything really, if I'm honest.
Most other clubs around the world, even big clubs, they sell their big players and they move on. Like, it's actually to some degree, and I'm playing devil's advocate here to some degree, but it's actually a little bit small time to think we can't replace him. The problem we have is we have a chairman who probably won't be as aggressive as we need to get the player in to replace him, like someone like Osimhen. You're going to end up having to probably spend more money than you get for Kane for less a player. But you look at Dortmund, they don't drop off for selling Sancho, for selling Bellingham, selling Haaland. Even if it's momentary. And I get that they're the second best team in Germany, but I don't want to sell him, and I'll happily see him leave on a free next year. But we've got to get past this. For the other thing, the reason why I don't think he'll leave, certainly for abroad, is surely that being the Premier League's all-time goal scorer is better than winning the Bundesliga. Much, much more impressive. Do you not agree, John?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that just going to Germany and winning the Bundesliga, everyone that's a critic of Kane now just suddenly goes, oh, fair enough. I don't think that's enough for what they want. I think that he would need to win the Premier League, right? Certainly the British media, which, let's be honest, is the only thing that Kane really cares about, right? I don't think he's desperate to win the Bundesliga. Bayern represent a big club and they obviously have chances to win the Champions League. But I think he, ultimately being the leading goal scorer in the Premier League is, for him, means more. I do think that is true, because I think that will last longer. Right? Loads of players have won the Bundesliga that no one cares about, but there's only one player who holds that record at any one time. And Shearer only won one Premier League, but he is one of the most famous and well-known and well-respected players because he's had that record. He's had it for such a long time. And if Kane breaks it, the likelihood is, like the England record, he'll hold that for a long time, and he'll probably extend that record as well, which will make it even harder for players to beat. Just quickly on the point about other clubs and is it small time of us to hold on to him? I think the context is slightly different. we went from a stage where we were a bit more like a Dortmund, where we were a selling club, where we could sell a Modric, we could sell a Berbatov, and reinvest the money and kind of build. And I think Dortmund do that really well, right? They're used to bringing in players for a couple of years and moving them on. I think the difference here is that Kane has become one of the best players in the world, consistently playing for us for a long period of time. So it's a slightly different thing. We're not used to the conveyor belt of like, you bring someone in, you make them a star in 2 or 3 years, and you move them on, and you're kind of identifying replacements for those all the time, which is what Dortmund do so well. We haven't been designed like that. So I think just to rip the plaster off now, before we've sort of rebuilt our structure and our culture, would be a misstep. I think keeping Kane and keeping that level of consistency and basically keeping a guaranteed X amount of goals in the side is the right thing to do in the short term. And if that means that we have to lose him on a free, but we've built more infrastructure to be able to replace him in a smarter way, then that is a much better move than just taking the money and potentially wasting it this summer.
Agreed.
And losing those goals.
I agree with you, John. I don't want to see him go and forget it all, forget everything I said. It's 100%, like, if we lose him for free, no one, like, it's not going to impact us and how we follow our football club. Don't leave his problem to solve. That's why he's paid the most money out of any chairman in the league. It's just that you lose every element of control about where he goes next. Is the biggest and the scariest thing. Is that he could easily rock up at Chelsea. That
he could do, but then that's on him.
Yeah.
Like if he wants to tarnish his career at Tottenham.
Do you forgive him if he does that?
What if he goes to Chelsea?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't forgive him. He'd be like dead to me.
Dirt. Dirt.
Yeah, absolute dirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's down to him then. Like he can have any like Campbell, for instance, could have any pick of the clubs in Europe, anywhere he wanted to go. If he does like go to Chelsea or Arsenal, say, whoever it might be, then that's on him.
Yeah.
Like that's he's made that decision. I don't think he would personally, but
He definitely stays in England if he has a choice, though.
yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, though, the options of clubs that we were just speaking about, right? Like, if it gets to the end of his contract, he will have offers. If City is one of those offers, he goes to City. Because that is, forget all of the other nonsense about money and whatever. That's the best chance of winning something, is City. So if that is an offer, and it could be, I know people are like, oh, they've got Haaland.
No, but Haaland could go to Real Madrid.
But he could go to, or they just keep him having both. Like, it's not like they've got that Alvarez as the second striker, right? If they've got an opportunity to bring in Kane, they only have to pay his wages. They will take that. And if, like I said, if that's an offer, that's where he goes. Because that is the best chance of winning trophies, which is what he wants.
Could you imagine Haaland and Kane in a 4-4-2?
I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, absolute joke.
It's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Imagine he goes Newcastle. He just thinks, fuck all this. These guys are paying me top money. I'm going up there.
You know what he needs?
Going up there to win.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to take a leaf out of Son's book and just go, I'm staying. Love it at Spurs. I love Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah. I love it at Spurs. The Spurs fans are going to love this. I want to stay with you. That's what he said, essentially. He came in this interview. He goes, the Spurs fans are going to love to hear this, but I just want to go back and show them what I can do, and remind them of the player that I used to be, or the player that I was before last season. What more? Like, he's honestly one of the greatest forwards on form for 90% of his career at Tottenham. One of the best forwards in the world, and he said, I'm not interested in going anywhere. I'm staying with Spurs. Could you love the man any more, John?
Mate, I know. It's actually really refreshing, isn't it? When players like actually love your club. Like, we think they all love it, and we think they all should love it. And Kane, in theory, should be the one who loves the club the most. And this, like, the narratives around players, they need to go here and they need to do this. Like, Son's just ripped up the rulebook and be like, nah, just like it here.
Just like it.
Like the fans, they like me.
It's good.
I'd rather win something here than go somewhere else. And like, that is what you want as a fan. When you look at players, you want them to be as invested as you are in the club and have the love and affiliation. And some players get it more than others, but I feel with Son, it is like generally a case of like he feels a genuine like love and affection for the club that isn't superficial. Like, he really does get it. And
do you think for Kane?
I love him.
Yeah. Do you think for Kane he's been in a long-term relationship with his wife. He's obviously not banged any other women, so he's just had one sexual partner his entire life, and he's had the exact same football career. He's just like, like he might not want to. Obviously, I'm sure he doesn't want to bang other women, but he might just want another football club. He needs some change. He said the same everywhere. Like you can't blame him for wanting to see the world a little bit, sample some other things. Do you know what I mean? Like Sonny, he's had everything. He's travelled over from South Korea. He's played in Germany. He's had loads of birds. That's why he's happy.
To a degree, with Kane, like, yeah, you say that, but he's played through the old stadium, the new stadium, the old training ground, the new training ground.
Basically, it's if his wife had a boob
Conte,
job,
Mourinho. He's you know, had it.
Yeah,
He's had all different. So
yeah,
it's like a new club.
Yeah, it's the thing is with Sonny is like there are obviously there are all kinds of women out there, right? And there's no chance that you could sample all of them. All of us, I'm talking about all of us here, boys.
Having a bloody good try.
But we found the women that we love, right? And we're not going to do that because the love we found is so much more secure, and that's what and comforting and wholesome. It makes you feel something that putting your dick in a vagina for 15 seconds or 15 minutes, depending on how good you are, it isn't going to. You can't replace that feeling of being at home with someone you're in love with. And that is why Sonny's staying. He's in love with Tottenham Hotspur.
Can you imagine if like relationships were like football clubs where you had media coverage and people basically going, your bird, she's just not good enough for you, mate. You want to get with that other bird down the road? She's way fitter.
Yeah.
Just constantly opening the paper in the morning, going, fucking hell.
Not only that, she's going to pay for your car. She's going to pay for your house.
Yeah,
just to come and shag her.
She's loaded. She's loaded, and she's going to give you loads of money to go over there and bang her relentlessly. You up for that? And you're like, I am up for it as well. She's Spanish. What? Yeah, all right. I'm well up for it. Like actually think about it. Every morning you wake up and you just open Twitter and there's people just going, his wife's just not nearly good enough for him.
Yeah.
He should be the 9s and 10s.
He's like,
his current missus is a 5.
He's going. I do want to do that, but I've got like 60,000 kids that keep screaming at me, saying I'm one of their own constantly.